What's up guys? Welcome to my channel and welcome to another video. For today's video, we're going to do a video comparison between this Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX and this Sigma 30mm f1.4 DC-DN. So without further ado, let's get started. The Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX was announced by Sigma way back in 2012, while the Sigma 30mm f1.4 DC-DN was announced in 2016. Both of these lenses are made for mirrorless cameras like the Sony's Alpha series. Both lenses are available for Micro Four Thirds and APS-C mounts like the Sony E-mounts. For this review, I'm going to use the Sony E-mount versions. Mounted on a Sony camera, both lenses provide an excellent field of view of 45mm. The 30mm f2.8 lens is a small and light, while the 30mm f1.4 is almost double the size of the latter. Both of these lenses are mostly made of plastic components, weighing only 128 grams. Sigma 30mm f2.8 comes with a plastic 46mm filter thread, while the Sigma 30mm f1.4 weighs 265 grams with 52mm filter thread. Both lenses have a metal lens mount. There are no controls on these lenses except for the manual focus ring. No distance or depth of field scale. For this category, I will give the score to the 30mm f2.8 lens due to its small size and easy to carry walk-around lens. On the left hand is the photos taken from the 30mm f2.8 EX, and the right side is taken from the 30mm f1.4 DC-DN. The first photo will be at f2.8. These photos are taken with the Sony A6500 at aperture priority. Let's see the difference. Zoom in 100%. So as you can see, photo on the left side is much sharper compared to the photos taken from the f1.4. So the f2.8 is sharper at the center. Okay, let's check the corner. Yes, the corner, the photos taken from the f2.8 is a lot sharper. As you can see here, this is very blur from the f1.4, although the photos are taken on the same f-stop, f2.8. The f2.8 lens wins here. Then let's see the lower right side. Yeah, a lot sharper. This f2.8 is a lot sharper at the corners. This side, you can see a lot of difference. Very sharp. So from this lens at f2.8, the f2.8 is a lot sharper. The test shots clearly shows how good the image quality you can get from these lenses. The images from the 30mm f2.8 are very sharp, even wide open at f2.8. For the 30mm f1.4, I need to step down to 2.8 to match the other lens, which results to a very sharp image as well. Based from these images, the 30mm f2.8 is slightly sharper than the more expensive 30mm f1.4. Both lenses are not tack sharp corner to corner at f2.8, but they offer a large area of central sharpness. For this particular category, I would have to give it to the 30mm f2.8 lens. As can seen from the test results, the images taken from this lens are slightly sharper even when used wide open at f2.8. Now, we're going to test and compare this Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX and the Sigma 30mm f1.4 DCDN when it comes to portrait shooting. Let's see how this lens performs when it comes to sharpness and bokeh when shooting portraits. So let's begin. The left side is shot on the Sigma f1.4. The right side is shot at Sigma f2.8. So both photos are shot at Aperture f2.8. Okay, as you can see from the photos itself, the color difference, the f1.4 lens is slightly better color tone. Now let's zoom and see the sharpness. The sharpness at f2.8 is about the same. They're about the same sharpness, although I can say for me the photo on the right side is slightly sharper, very slightly sharper only, but it's not noticeable. Cannot tell the difference. If you compare the price of these two lenses, the f1.4 is I think twice the price of this f2.8 lens. Although the color, the f1.4 is better lah. Okay, so it's up to you to decide which one is sharper, which one is. For me, they are about the same. Although, of course lah, this f1.4 lens you can open wide at f1.4. Okay, let's compare the photo between f1.4 and f2.8 and see the difference. Okay, the photos on the right side is shot at f1.4 and the photo on the right side is shot at 2.8. So you can see the background. The f1.4 is definitely better when it comes to the bokeh. You can see the background is more creamier compared to the f2.8. Now let's see the sharpness. Okay, so from the sharpness we can definitely see the f2.8 lens is a lot sharper. I'm not sure if my copy of the lens is not sharp, or I don't know what's the reason behind this. Although some people say this lens is very sharp at f1.4, but from these photos we can definitely see the difference. The f2.8 is sharper at wide open compared to the f1.4 wide open also. Although you can get this very nice background when you open wide at f1.4. So that's the comparison between this Sigma 30mm f2.8 and Sigma 30mm f1.4 lens. So it's up to you to decide which lens you want to get. Just for reference, this f1.4 lens I think is twice or thrice the price compared to this Sigma 30 f2.8. So it's up to you to decide. So these two lenses are capable of doing portrait shots. Although the f1.4 is better at background blur, when you use the f1.4 you can tell the difference in the background. It's better on the background blur. Although I don't know if my copy or similar with other lens is not that sharp at f1.4. The Sigma lenses are known for their sharpness and good quality results. Thus both of these lenses are no exemption for this label. The 30mm f2.8 is very sharp indeed, even when used wide open at f2.8, while the 30mm f1.4 lacks the sharpness wide open. It is still very sharp when stepped down. The sharpness between the two lenses is very similar and cannot really tell the difference. For this category, I will give the score to both lenses due to the sharpness are very similar and very slightly noticeable for an average eye. These lenses uses an in-lens motor for autofocus, which is quick and quiet. Takes just under a second to go from infinity to close focus. The front element does not move when focusing, so it's easier to handle with polarizer and filters. I didn't really test the technical aspect of this category, so I can't give so much details about the performance of these lenses. For this category, I won't give any score. Although both lenses are able to focus very fast, I can't really tell which one is the winner. At f2.8 aperture, both lenses produces similar background blur or bokeh. The bokeh produced are very good and sufficient for portrait shots. It's not the best bokeh if you compare to more expensive f1.4 lens, but it's good enough for a casual portrait shooting. With the focal length of 30mm, these lenses can compete in the field when it comes to portrait shooting. The 30mm f1.4 lens have the advantage to open 2 stops wider and is capable of producing creamier background blur, which is very pleasing to the eyes. For this category, the 30mm f1.4 is clearly the winner. The Sigma 30mm f1.4 is currently priced around $289, while the Sigma 30mm f2.8 is priced online around $148, while the 30 f1.4 has a faster aperture but is almost double the price than the 30mm f2.8. The value for money, for my opinion, would still goes to the Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX. Although you only have f2.8 aperture, it is sufficient enough for your daily walk-around use. It is even slightly sharper when used for landscape shooting and can compete in the fields of portrait shooting. The Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX DN is somehow wins this comparison. The Sigma 30mm f1.4 is also a very good lens and in fact is one of the most purchased lens for the APS-C cameras. No doubt, both of these lenses produces good quality images, but there are some areas where the other one stands out. It's good to have an alternative options for some people who are looking for cheaper yet very competitive products like the Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX. What do you think of this comparison video? Please leave your comments on the comment section below. So that concludes our test shots between the Sigma 30mm f2.8 EX and the Sigma 30mm f1.4 DCDN. Hope you liked this video and hope you learned something today. Please support this channel by giving a like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.